Welcome back, RealTalkTwinCities.com. I'm Eric Pirius, Eric the Lone Guy, along with Donna and Cheryl of Coldwell Banker Burnet. We are your friends and allies in all things real estate. Every Sunday, soon to be every Saturday at 4 o'clock. We're going to continue talking about the 3% down program and tearing down the jail later in the show, right, Cheryl? Cheryl?
I'm the new host of the show.
You are the new host,
yes.
Cheryl.
I kind of like it.
Sounds like a medicine.
It works for me.
And speaking of medicine, Sandy Schwartz is here. Some home medicine. She's a stager with SASHomestaging.com. Hi.
Hi, Eric.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks.
All right. So tell us what you do. How can you make it better? Why is home staging important?
I'm a home stager, and staging helps houses, in a nutshell,
Sure.
sell faster and for more money. And who doesn't like faster and for more money? Right?
You got that right.
Things.
So I've seen shows on television, home staging, and it seems to, it's the prices are. I mean, it's a little more than you might imagine. At least that's what my feeling, but it's worth it apparently.
It is, and there's different ways to go about staging.
Mm-hmm.
So some staging can be relatively inexpensive, and especially I like to work with homeowners using their own stuff in their home.
Oh,
And
sure.
That way it's a simple consult, and my fees are $80 an hour, so for $80 I can come in, work with you, we walk through your house, look at the things that you have, I give you suggestions and ideas on arranging the furniture, accessories, artwork. Little tip, everybody hangs their art too high. So a lot of times I'm moving the artwork down a little
Gotcha.
bit. And by doing that and using their own resources, we can just do the rearrange and get the furniture set up so that the house shows up to the buyers.
So folks, clean up. Cheryl, I'm sorry if I.
Oh, no. I was just going to
Step in
say
here.
that I was going to ask you, Sandy, who do you think should stage their home? Is there a certain price point, certain style of home?
Well, I think everybody should stage their home. Every house can show off better to more buyers. We live differently than we need a house to show to
Right.
sell. So when we live, we want to be really cozy. We have all of our furniture, all of our stuff around us. When we're selling our house, we want it to show up to as many buyers as we can. So you need to clear things out. A lot of the first steps are decluttering and removing the things that get in the way so that the buyers can see the focal points of the house, not be distracted by your wonderful collections, and can move through the house more easily. So really anyone can stage, and again, the price point is all across the board, from a simple consult to a full, if your home is vacant and I'm bringing in furniture and accessories and all of that, the price does go up with that.
Mm-hmm. How do you deal with the emotional side of it? I mean, people you mentioned, and Cheryl kind of beat me to the punch there with the question, but people are attached. They think their house is nice. They clean it up for you. See, look what I did, and yet you're there to tell them, hey, that's a less than optimal idea.
Absolutely.
Or bad.
You know what? Again, when you live in your house, it's your house, and the emotional side of it is, and I feel this way, I respect and like a lot of the things that people do. The way I have my home decorated is not how I would stage my house. So it's not a personal thing, it's making your house appeal to the broadest range of buyers that you can. The first thing they're going to do is look online, so you need pictures online that bring them in and want them to come see the house. So it's not about how well do you decorate or what's your taste or your style. It's your house being available to the buyers to come see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's important with what you're doing too, that you're working with a professional real estate agent who's going to take good photos and have good marketing materials to show off the work that you do as well. And that's one of the things that we really specialize with, Donna and I, at Local Agent Team, is presenting the home in the best light possible. One of the things that I really like about working with you, Sandy, is that it takes the pressure off of me. Even though I have an interior design background, if I go in and start telling my sellers about the things that they should be changing in a property, they might resent me. I'm the bad guy. And it's great to have that third person come in and be objective so that we can be there to sell the home and market the home, but then you're the expert that comes in with the design tips for them. What should sellers do before you get there?
Before I even get there, every home needs to be decluttered. So the extra things that are around and about in our everyday living, as much as you can declutter and get those things moved out either into storage or even just neatly stacked up in the basement so that you can see all the space in your room. You want your house to show up in its best light. And so to do that, we want to be able to see in the house. And if every corner is filled with a chair and a little knickknack
More
and something
spacious.
else, it doesn't feel nearly as spacious as the space really is. So decluttering is really important. And then even before I get there, a lot of times you guys help your sellers with this. If the wall coloring, if painting needs to happen, or floors need to be refinished, or carpeting, those kinds of updates are best done before I even get there.
One of the things that I find with working with buyers is a lot of them can't visualize. So you have to kind of paint a picture for them. And when you think about the different learning styles that people have, whether they're kinesthetic or visual or auditory, you're not reaching everybody. You want to make sure that you're setting things up in a visual way, because a lot of times they just can't look past your taxidermy on the wall or your, I went into a house once where they had a collection of Jell-O molds, hundreds of them, hundreds of them.
Sure.
And you know, it's like we gotta get rid of this stuff and make it more appealing so that people can actually be moving their things into the home and seeing, you know, oh, my couch would look great here, or instead of getting distracted by the trophies and all the other stuff that people have. And I don't know, do you find that to be true too, Cheryl, that you're painting that picture for people?
Oh, absolutely. I had one that was a home, it was owned by an art dealer. So the whole house was filled with nudes. And you're just going, okay, seriously, buyers cannot come in here and see the stuff on the walls. But they think it's beautiful, expensive art, which it is. But it offends a lot of people, and you got to get rid of it. So it's just really helpful to have a third person like you, Sandy, come in and do that. The other thing that I have a hard time with too is telling the sellers to clean their oven. Come on. I mean, the appliances sometimes are so gross, you know, and if somebody can go through and just, you know, tastefully say, you really need to clean up a bit, or maybe recommend somebody to come in and clean up.
Right. Even before you get started, a good thorough cleaning is worth every penny that you would pay to have a professional come in and do that. Windows, closets, the whole 9 yards, so that the house really shows well.
Yeah, and I've sold a lot of new construction, and especially in like condo buildings or big developments where you've got a lot of different units or homes available, and you might have one that's staged, and that's the one that always sells.
Yeah.
Because people go in and right away, the bedrooms are too small.
I'll buy it just like this.
Yeah,
If I
just
can
like
have
that.
all the furniture and everything.
Right, yeah, they love that, but then they can see what will fit in there.
Right.
Because surprisingly, a vacant home, you'd think with nothing in there, it would seem really big, but a vacant home actually feels smaller.
It
When you
does.
get some furniture in there, the space opens up and people can start visualizing how they're going to be in that space.
And we're talking with Sandy Schwartz of SASHomestaging.com. Sandy, how can people get a hold of you? What's your phone number?
Best way to reach me by phone, my number is 612-787-8828. Again, area code 612-787-8828. Just call me anytime and I can help you out.
And Cheryl, you've worked with Sandy on a number of different projects?
Yes, Sandy does great work, and I highly recommend her. One thing, Sandy, too, that you mentioned was that the studies indicate a 6 to 10% higher selling price
Right.
for a staged home.
Right, when you stage the home, you get a broader range of buyers coming and looking at the space. So the more buyers you have who are interested, the higher your price is going to be. The more likely you're going to get your asking price, or sometimes even above that. When you only have, when you don't have very many people interested in the home, you might have to reduce your price to get those buyers to come in.
Yeah, and that's what I really see too, with a house that is staged, that it's gonna sell more quickly because buyers are buying emotionally. And
Yes.
there's so many sellers that are more worried about the truth in housing report and fixing all the things behind the walls. And the buyers don't really care about that. We can negotiate those things out after the sale. If the buyer comes in, they fall in love with the house, and we deal with all those little things after the fact.
Well, that's where the accessorizing comes in, because even just putting in furniture, okay, there's a sofa, I see there's a sofa, but the accessories and the colors that we use and the artwork placement, that's what appeals on the emotional side to the buyer walking in. They say, oh, I could live here, this feels great.
Right. And
How
that's
often
so
do you
important.
rent the furniture? Do you rent the furniture or use, you mentioned that you can use what people already have, or I suppose you can rent it and then maybe people have to do some storage or have big garage sales. Can you talk about some of the mechanics of all that?
Sure, all those options are available. I can work with you, I can work with the furniture that you have, like I talked through, just doing a consult. And a lot of times the best way to do that is for me to come through on the initial consult and let you know what you need to do in terms of decluttering, where I would suggest furniture placement, those types of things. And then have me come back when you've done all that, and I do kind of a fluff and buff thing to just kind of do those finishing touches. Or if it's going to be vacant, then I have access to actually warehouses of furniture, where we will have 20 to 30 houses staged at any given time. So there's just a wonderful playground of furniture and accessories and artwork, and we choose from that to come up with the design that's going to work best
So
in
you
the
can
house to stage
pick as
it.
much or as little of that as needed, right?
Right, I mean, you're going with the style of the house. The modern is more simple and clean lines, and then sometimes we go for the more layered, cozy look.
Thank you, Sandy. We'll be back with more from Sandy Schwartz of sashomestaging.com, including how you can get 6% more for your house, right, Sandy?
Absolutely.
All right. We're tearing down things in St. Paul. We'll talk about that. Again, the 3% down program. A little bit more on rates because they're dropping, what it means to you when we come back. RealTalkTwinCities.com on AM 1280, The Patriot.